Please be seated. From the beginning of morning, throughout the course of the day, each of us play an important role in defining who we are at that very moment and who we will ultimately become through the choices we make. When the alarm goes off in the morning and we are ensconced in our quilts and our eyes do not wish to be pried open, we have a choice: to remain in bed or not to remain in bed. That is the question. Whether it is the nobler to suffer the slings and arrows of our outrageous wake-up time, or to take arms against the sea of troubles and just blow off morning sign-in. That is the first choice of the day, and our decision at that precise moment dictates and defines the rest of our morning. What's amazing is how our little choices add up. Our moments become days, which become weeks, which become years, our lives, and our ultimate destiny. Good morning, friends, faculty, and family, and thank you for being here today. Now, I know that most of us are extremely busy as the first reporting period is coming to a conclusion, but I thank you for the opportunity that I have to share a few words of wisdom I've acquired at this early stage of my life. Wright brothers, Bill Gates, Michael Jordan, and Forrest Gump. What do these characters all have in common? Well, some might say that they all enjoyed boxes of chocolates. But really, what do we all have in common? What each of us shares, without a doubt, is the ability to make choices. And the way we make choices, that makes a difference. And it separates some of us from others in what we deem successful or simply achieving our goals. For example, what would our lives be today if the Wright brothers in 1903 did not make the choice to pursue their dream and create a mechanism that will enable flight to a cure? What would have happened if Bill Gates and Paul Allen of Microsoft did not launch what was to become the world's largest software company? And what would have happened if Michael Jordan chose to give up his dreams of playing in the NBA after he was cut from his high school basketball team? And on a personal basis, what would my life be today if my family and I had not made the bold choice to leave the comforts of our lives in Istanbul to come to Canada, and specifically for me to come to Appleby College? I definitely have the fortune to come from a family of strong role models. My mother and father, who have always made choices that have bettered our lives and provided with a wealth of experiences. And I thank you, Mom and Dad, today for the choices you have made that enriched my life and vision. From you, I too become a person of choice, and I lead my life welcoming opportunities from which I can make choices. Dr. Seuss said it best: you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, and you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know. And you're the guy who will decide where to go. The choice to leave behind the comforts and relationships I valued in Istanbul to fly across the world to a foreign land and culture of Canada was profound and definitely a rewarding in my personal life. I had a privileged life in which I had many opportunities to travel to numerous countries and cities all around the world. Yet I never really thought, what would it be to live in a foreign country? And let me tell you, and you may not believe this, but when you're comfortable sometimes, you are too comfortable. And sometimes part of your comfort zone is creating an image in the way you look and the way you interact so that you will be safely evaluated and not be judged. This became very important to me. The truth is, when I left Istanbul, I was terrified. Back home, I had a strong social network. I had a very good, close group of friends. We got along well, joked together, and we were well-liked in our community. I was confident. However, I knew that coming to Appleby College meant that I had to say goodbye to my friends and the people who I valued the most. Sure, I was going to see them during the summer, but that was not the same. And I thought, when I came to Appleby, I would not be able to rebuild that. I thought how I would ever be able to have a strong group of friends coming to a new school from a foreign country as an outsider. But because I didn't know what Canada was all about, as I didn't have anyone else to relate to it first, the only choice I had was to be my genuine self. And it turned out that the other people kind of liked that, and I did too. The Appleby College community embraced me. I quickly made friends, some of the best friends I've ever had. My idea of how I would not fit in was disproved. Coming to Canada was one of the best choices I have ever made, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for making my experience so memorable. Without consciously being aware at the time, I now know that this move began my journey of appreciating the necessity of not only making choices, but choosing situations that entail a certain degree of risk. Choosing to come to a school such as Appleby College and choosing to be open-minded and receptive to new opportunities has definitely have contributed to the way I define myself and the painting that I'm creating of the image that I desire to achieve. Yet, at first, it wasn't very easy to adapt to a new country, a new culture, a new language, and new friends who I could trust. For instance, while it took me exactly 2 weeks in my first year at Appleby in grade 9 to realize that whenever my gym teacher yelled "attaboy," he or she wasn't actually referring it to me, but was just complimenting another student's performance. I've also come to a deep understanding that risk is a normal and an expected component in achieving successful outcomes. Risk is not to be shied away from. It is to be acknowledged, welcomed, and embraced in determining what the course of action will be. It is the choices that each individual is capable of making through their self-confidence and ability to risk-take that determine who they really are. In order to substantiate what I've put before you so far, apart from what I've already told you about coming from Istanbul to Canada, which was a major risk that has definitely paid off, there have been other risks that have been physical, intellectual, and emotional for me. Many of you here have accepted the challenge of going on a service trip. Without a doubt, that is definitely a risk, as you're unfamiliar with the destination, you're physically challenged, and often emotionally exhausted. I have been on 2 service trips, one to Nicaragua as a senior leader for the middle schoolers, and the other to Morocco. However, the challenges I accepted, the risks that I underwent, definitely are secondary to what I gained. I gained the knowledge that it is certainly better to give than to receive, as without looking for any form of compensation, you know that your sacrifices have truly made a significant contribution to the lives of those who are in need. Another risk I ventured was in the realm of athletics. To try out for a team is a great personal risk, with the odds of failure. With gaining a place in a team continues the risk of failure, not only in winning a game, but in achieving a sense and place and connection amongst your teammates. Yet, once that has been achieved, the bonding and working with others far outweighs all the possible risks. Academically, I have taken the intellectual challenges in particular in OELC and Shad Valley. From each, I've gained a knowledge that the only way to effectively work with others is to build positive and effective working relationships. The importance of listening to others, considering their circumstances, showing empathy, and then moving forward and making decisions plays an integral part in my relationships today and my leadership role as international prefect this year. If I had not taken any of these risks and made any of these choices, I would not be the person who I am today. So what are the gains from risk-taking versus the deficits from risk-taking? From risk-taking, you increase your self-confidence. You acquire a sense of achievement. And you come to know they've made a difference in someone else's life. and you continue down the path of personal growth. All pretty good gains, I think. But let me not stop here, for with every gain, there's a loss. So what are the deficits? The deficits include anxiety. They include uncertainty. And they include the possibility of failure. But with failure, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. In reality, deficits are truly gains, as it is better to have loved and lost than to have never have loved at all. When an opportunity comes your way, instead of taking the safe way of remaining passive, stop and think about the wealth that has come your way right there, and then make a choice to take a risk. Because without that conscious decision, you will remain simply one drop of the ocean rather than becoming the ocean. We are all capable of becoming so much greater than what we are right now. And in order to do that, choices have to be made that are not solely comfortable. If there's one thing you can take away from my speech today, that will be my most sincere advice of taking the opportunities that life provides you with. Try new things, different things, things that you've never tried or thought of trying before. If you can find the opportunity, travel to as many places as you can. You never know what you will gain from these experiences. As we all know from the wise words of Forrest Gump, life is a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Similarly, we're provided with so many opportunities to choose from at Appleby College. Let's take advantage of that. To all the opportunities here today, I would like to challenge each and every one of you to step out of your comfort zones and to try new things. Spend time in creating new relationships and get to know people who you didn't have the chance to get to know before, as you never know how much an individual can mean to you unless you spend the time to get to know them. I guarantee you that will make all the difference. At last but not least, Senior 2s. As most of us submitted our Ontario University applications this past Monday, we have all made conscious choices with a certain degree of risk-taking. Through the experiences that we've gained here at Appleby College so far, I believe that we have all made the most appropriate choices that will eventually guide us to where we are destined to be in the future. That being said, I would like to conclude by wishing everyone the best of luck in their academic week, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year in advance. Now would you all please rise and sing hymn number 662.